Oh, hey everybody. Um, Welcome back. I got myself a new stand so I don't have to actually hold my phone. Um, so, yeah, that's new. Um, Welcome back to Beyond Cancer, where we take a look at what it's like for those that are left behind, those that remain, and just sort of a faithful review of my experiences in my life since the passing of my wife to cancer. I journaled everything extensively, and now I'm continuing on the tradition of sharing the story like me and my wife did while we were going through cancer. I continue with sharing about my grief and sharing about the healing process. Brittany passed in January of this year, so January 2023. And it is currently November 2nd, 2023. So, been about 11 months, a little less than 11 months now. And I've got some perspective on some of my journaling and stuff like that I was doing from back at that time. So, that being said, a little bit of an update on me. I just got back from a doctor's appointment myself. Nothing terrible. I have a family history of colon and gut issues, so I'm actually trying to convince. Well, I've convinced the doctors. Essentially, you're supposed to get a colonoscopy around 50 to 45. With me and my situation and my family history, the doctors agree that I should probably start at 40, which I currently am. And so I went in for a pre-surgery appointment today. It's not really surgery, but pre-procedure where they kind of walk you through what you're going to do, try to set up an appointment. So, and right now, the last thing they got to do is they took a big family history of me and they're talking to insurance, because insurance is the last step, obviously, to make sure that they approve that the procedure is worth it. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. So don't know when the procedure is going to be. Don't know, but I'll try to remember to catch some of me in my goofy twilight loopy state. We'll see. Gran, maybe you can drive me back from the appointment, and maybe you can catch some footage of me being loopy. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be doing the driving or anything yet. That has not been that hasn't been discussed or anything. So this should be the first time Gran's hearing about it. So surprise, Gran. But yeah. So I'll keep you guys abreast and updated on what's going on with me. Right today, I'm just kind of doing a bit of cleaning. The house is kind of gone a little bit of a wreck. I'm trying to get all this done. I got a friend of mine that's in a play tonight that I'm going to go see. And that should be fun. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So without further ado, let's get back into my journal and discussion of what's going on in my life. So on the last episode, the last time that we spoke, it was February 24th, 2023, and I talked about essentially getting back to some of the things that I love doing, and what that was like, and how much of a positive experience that has been going forward. Like, even though I had to force myself to kind of keep walking, make myself do the things that I love to do, because at the time you don't really want to. So yeah, I move forward with that, and it's ultimately been a positive experience because I've been forcing myself to continue patterns and continue moving forward. So, the next entry I have past February 24th is March 1st. So a mere 6 days later from that entry. And March 1st is a Wednesday. And I write, my cousin called me, but at the moment I was not in a good place. I spoke briefly about my struggles with vice and sin and some of the issues that I was going through a few episodes back. And this is more of that. He called me and I was just there, and I just hung up on him. I didn't I didn't answer his phone call. I didn't want to speak with him. Not that I didn't love him or anything, or didn't want to hear from him, but I feel like there's a part of me that I didn't want my cousin to see me in that way, even though he personally would not have cared. He would have, he probably would have called me and said, "Hey, let me drink some with you. Hold on, let me get a bottle of whiskey here." So I either intentionally did not answer the phone because of him, or I did it because I was ashamed, or I did it because I felt guilty, and I didn't want to have an outside influence telling me what I was doing was okay. And I think that's a really interesting thing, because like at the time I really couldn't see. I still can't tell why I didn't. Like I just did not want to talk to him. But why? I don't know. It could have been a mixture of any one of those things. And I'm sure to some degree there's a little bit of each in there. But really, it could have been easy for me to just get on the phone call with him and just let him encourage me in my going forwards. But I didn't, and I don't know. It was profound enough to make it to the journal entry, and I did. So moving on, for the next day, on Thursday, February 2nd. So the 2nd, I wrote that, I have a little side note in there where I just kind of make mention that it feels like I'm being ignored by God in my prayers. And I know conceptually that's not true. I know he hears. I know he listens. We're told that time and time again throughout the Bible. And just because we don't feel the presence of the Lord doesn't mean that he's not there. He's not present. And it's one of those things that, like, in that moment, I was weak, and I reached out, and I felt alone. I felt ignored. And I know there's that old footprints in the sand poem, that say, hey, whenever you don't feel the presence of your Father, it's because he's carrying you through. And it's cliche and kind of trite, but it's true. It's this notion that, hey, just because you think you're alone, you're not. And I think it's important that no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're going through, it's important to hold true to that, and just to remember that the God of the universe loves you, and he's here for you, even whenever you don't feel like you can feel him. That's your own condemnation. That's your own brain yelling at you, telling you that you're not good enough. So, but yeah, additionally, on that day, on March 2nd, I tried to pack up all of Brittany's clothes. And when I started to pack Brittany's clothes. I started by organizing and folding everything nicely and putting certain things in certain bags. Like, all right, well, all of these are going to be the cardigans. All of these are going to be the pants. All of these are going to be the shorts. All of these are so on and so forth. And what wound up happening, it was a disaster. And about halfway through, I was crying so hard that I was gasping for air. Like legitimately, like I was having trouble breathing. So I just started slamming clothes into bags, and I didn't care what direction they went or how they went or whatever. It was by far one of the, you hear me talk about all the cleaning that I've done throughout this journey, that I'm still doing even today. You hear me talking about all the cleaning that I was doing and all the picking up and all the processing. And this was by far the most extreme. Those clothes are thrown willy-nilly into those bags and they are shoved into a closet, and one day I will figure out what to do with them. I had half a mind to call women's shelters or, just various philanthropic organizations to try to like give those clothes away, because Brittany was a businesswoman. She had some amazing clothes that were like truly like, hey, like you could go into a business meeting and rock out with this. Which is the whole, she loved business. That was just her thing. So I'm still holding on to them. They're still essentially a landmine for me every time I happen to open that door, and I'm stared in the face with, umpteen bags that are stacked up this high of all of her clothes. Like it's a veritable landmine, and it's something that I do need to do. I just haven't had the chance to do it yet, or had the energy, or whatever. They're not doing me any good, and I need to get rid of them. So, so yeah, there's that. I've saved all the little pieces. There's a few pieces of clothing that I've saved, and I've kind of either put in a memorial space, or I've got certain things that I'm doing with. But yeah, so all of those clothes got shoved in those bags and were just there, and I was like, all right, I'm done. However, there's always the next, right? The very next day, Friday, March the 3rd, Brittany's sister comes by and she's like, hey, can I go through some of Brittany's clothes and pick out some articles of clothing for me that I can keep from her? And I was like, yes. I love the kid, and I wanted, yeah, absolutely, please, use some of this stuff. And I know she went through Brittany's clothes, and once again, I had to, I was being friendly, just standing there talking to her. But watching someone else go through her clothes, that wasn't nearly as hard. I don't know, it's kind of like maybe I had already put the clothes in the bag, so therefore I was removed from it. Or maybe it was the fact that she was doing it and not me, so maybe that was part of it, maybe both, I don't know. But it didn't hit nearly as hard. I was able to watch her kind of sift through a few things, and there were a few articles of clothing that she grabbed and pulled through, and I was like, oh yeah, that. And I would trigger back to certain memories. It's just part of the process, While we were going through that, Abby tried talking to me about, just stuff. And I found myself wanting to say a lot of things. But really, there wasn't anything to say. Just at a loss of words. So everything that needed to be said had been said. Not that cancer provides there's nothing positive about cancer, but the slow death of your loved one provides opportunity to say the things. I know that not everybody has that opportunity, and a lot of people are left with unresolved answers or things that they wish they would have said. But I know Brittany and Abby and me and Brittany and everybody, we said what we needed to say. There was no great revelations or great reveals in the last 3 months. And I guess in a way that's a small blessing. Kind of weird to say it that way, but that's what it was. You got the opportunity to say the things and process the things and respond to the things. Brittany had the chance to, when she came back, when literally God brought her back to life from her deathbed, she got 3 more months to make amends with her family, to forgive and be forgiven. I think it's powerful. Maybe a small silver lining in the monster that is cancer. So that covers the morning of Friday. The evening of Friday, something really cool happened. And this is kind of what I've been waiting to talk about. I've been talking about paint pouring for so long. And there's a reason why I've been talking about it. So Friday evening, I wound up going out on the town. I went to a few places, got a few drinks, got some appetizer here, went to a different restaurant, got dinner there, just totally laid into the, I'm going to try to get my mind off of things and just have a good time. And I did. And I wound up at a party. Now, understand that this party is there's an apartment complex where I lived when I first moved here. And several of our friends work at this apartment complex. So every other Friday, they have a party for everybody in the apartment complex, and the owners put it on, and they provide a bunch of food and drinks and just various stuff. And I occasionally go. I'm no longer a resident, but past residents are always invited to these things, and it's just kind of one of these, like, hey, we're an eclectic club kind of thing, and that's really what it is. So I went, and I got to hang out and just fill up space, chat with a few people. And I wound up meeting an older gentleman. We were talking a lot about, he was here for some project or whatever, and he starts talking about art. And of course, I immediately start talking about paint pouring and Brittany's paint projects. But not only Brittany's paint projects, but also how I have begun doing them as well, as a way to kind of cope with the loss of my wife and that kind of thing. And I show him some of the work, some of the ones that I've done. And he commissioned one, offered to pay, said, hey, I want these colors, you do the thing, and I'll pay what you ask. So instead, I told him, I said, I tell you what, I'll make it for you, but here's the address here's the information for Brittany's memorial fund. And which goes to FBLA students, underprivileged FBLA students in her high school in Arkansas. And I said, if you are interested, if you're really interested, make a donation. Don't care what the amount is. You pay what you think it's worth, and I'll make the piece for you. And I did. The very next day, March 4th, I made the piece. I mixed all the paints, did all the things, and I delivered it to him. But that's in another week or so. So I've officially been commissioned to make a piece of art for somebody. The strange places our lives take us. I don't know. I'm thinking, I've been getting a lot of like, I'm not sure if I want to talk about this yet or not, but I've actually been thinking about making a separate YouTube channel where it's just me and maybe recording the paint pouring process or something to that effect. I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a nice little art project for me, and it'll just be something cool to kind of get my fingers in. I always need a new project to do. If I don't have a project that I'm working on, I need a new one. So yeah, I'm looking into that, and I'm actually cleaning up the back room right now to kind of like set up a way to do it. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. And not only that, I'm also getting back into some of my woodworking. Currently, I actually have a friend of mine, a friend of a friend who has a broken chair that I'm going to try to fix. For those of you that don't know, I also do carpentry. I also do a little bit of woodwork. I've made some of the furniture in my house because I needed furniture. So I could either buy it or I could make it. Why not? I went on YouTube, found a couple of videos. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I made these clunky things that over time I've gotten better and better at making them, and I've even made a couple of I've made a couple of table and chair sets for friends and stuff like that. That was really fun. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I'm gonna end this video with the painting that a picture of the painting that I made for. Can I call him my client? I'll end with that painting and let you guys kind of look at it a little bit, because I had a really fun time doing it. It's a really big one, kind of like these. So they're kind of like these up behind me, these larger ones that I have on either side of me. So yeah. I'll go find that photo somewhere and post it. But yeah, so that covers a few days and covers some of the nonsense about what I've been talking about for a while. And yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys around. See you on the next episode. Myers out.